Hello and welcome to this video lecture. In this video, we will be talking about common mistake types, or CMT. 1. Background of the common mistake type, CMT. The characteristics of the GMAT exam forced me to look for a way to help students do well, a way that would develop reasoning skills. The reason was that the GMAT tests students not only on their math or verbal skills, but also on their reasoning skills. Now, why do you think the logic is so important? It is important because the GMAT math generally covers math skills required in the 9th or 10th grade, and therefore requires many different tricks and logic to make this elementary and basic math more competitive and intimidating. Keeping the requirements of the GMAT in mind, I have, therefore, devised the 4 common mistake types. Another reason for devising the common mistake types is because of the necessity of developing differentiation skills to tackle the GMAT math exam. One of the goals of the GMAT is for students to acquire differentiation skills to precisely understand relationships between the concepts in the question. Achieving this goal is not possible if the GMAT offers only calculation problems. These differentiation skills are necessary to tackle DS questions and to understand the relationships between DS questions and the 4 common mistake types. As far as I know, common mistake types is the peak of the GMAT math logic. Mistakes are the symbol that distinguishes primates from others. That's why people make mistakes. Iterative learning is the only way to overcome the mistakes. So just questions repeating over and over. When I ask students whether they have studied the common mistake types or not, some of them say, "I don't make any mistakes." They're making a mistake by saying things like that. People make mistakes because they are primates. 2. Categories of common mistake type, CMT. I have gone through all the DS questions from the 10 editions of the GMAT official guide to come up with these CMTs. After a great deal of research and thorough observations, I have divided these CMTs into 4 main categories. CMT 4 has further been divided into 2 parts, A and B, resulting in a total of 5 CMTs. As those writing the questions are likely to put forth a lot of traps, it is essential for students to know the common mistakes that they are likely to make on the official test. 1. CMT 1 states that no is also an answer, sufficient. 2. CMT 2 states that there must be only one answer. 3. CMT 3 states that condition 1 and condition 2 are independent of each other. If we look at condition 2, we should not consider condition 1 at all. 4. There are 2 types of CMT 4. CMT 4A states that if you get C as an answer too easily, also consider either A or B as an answer. CMT 4B states that if you get A or B as an answer too easily, also consider D as an answer. Understanding the CMTs will help you to achieve a score above 50 or 51 on the GMAT math. You should memorize the 4 common mistake types above. They often appear in the exam. 3. Roles of the common mistake type, CMT. The CMTs apply to most of the DS questions presently seen in the actual test. CMT 1 and CMT 2 are useful in all of the DS questions, while CMT 3 and CMT 4A and B are likely to be seen in approximately 4 or 5 questions in each test. CMT 1 frequently appears as a logical query, and it occurs as often as the CMT 2. In earlier years, CMT 1 occurred less frequently than CMT 2. Therefore, it is important to know the difference between the 2. As mentioned earlier, CMT 3 and CMT 4 do not occur in all questions. These are related to key questions such as integer, statistics, probability, inequality, and absolute value questions. They are, therefore, critically important for solving high difficulty 50 or 51 questions. On the most recent exams, CMT 3 and CMT 4A and B frequently appear in integer and statistics questions. If CMT 3 and CMT 4 appear in your exam, it means that you are likely to get 50 to 51 in GMAT math. In summary, CMT 1 and CMT 2 appear in all DS questions, while CMT 3 and CMT 4A and B appear in questions related to inequality, probability, absolute value, integer, and statistics, and are critically important to achieving a score of 50 or 51. You need to fully understand CMT 3 and CMT 4 to get a score of 50 to 51. 4. Characteristics of the common mistake type, CMT. The CMT is peculiar to the GMAT math section, and within the math section, only to the DS questions. So, almost 14 out of 31 questions of the math section will deal with these CMTs. The CMT 1 and CMT 2 are common to and useful in all 14 of the questions. It is important to understand that questions dealing with no as an answer rarely appear. This is very important. Even the official guide doesn't mention that a no can also be sufficient. This is important because you're going to realize this after you study for a while. On the other hand, the CMT 3 and CMT 4A and B rarely appear in the initial part of the GMAT math section, and are likely to appear about 4 times after question number 17. They may appear on questions covering any math concepts that are tested in the exam, but are most likely to appear on key questions dealing with integers, statistics, probability, inequality, and absolute value. CMT 4A and B appears more frequently, so it is important to understand this concept completely before taking the exam. Also, these questions may make a difference of 30 points in your score, so it is essential to get them right to score high on the GMAT. The questions with CMT 3 and CMT 4A and B are rarely easy, so be sure to get these questions correct. Remember that CMT 4A and B appears more frequently than CMT 3 on the exam. 5. Methods to identify common mistake types, CMT. The first method is to understand that CMT 1 and CMT 2 appear on all DS questions. CMT 3 and CMT 4A and B, on the other hand, appear because of the relationships and often give us C as an answer when the variable approach is applied. When the DS questions are related to key concepts such as integers, statistics, probability, inequality, and absolute value, CMT 3 or CMT 4A and B are often used within the question. The chances are that approximately 4 DS questions of this kind will appear on your GMAT. CMT 1 and CMT 2 apply to all DS questions. The second method is to understand that CMT 3 and CMT 4A and B appear when an original condition and a question are changed and rechecked using the variable approach. This is yet another reason why the variable approach is so useful. When this happens, CMT 4A and B often occurs in the question. If you can distinguish between CMT 3 and CMT 4A and B, it means that you are already good enough to get a score of 50 to 51. The third method is to identify the statistics questions with the phrase different positive integers. When encountering these questions, be sure to apply CMT 4A and B. It is likely that DS questions dealing with a mixture of integers and statistics are 50 to 51 level questions. Be careful if these types of questions appear in the actual exam. Remember these methods and practice them as we move ahead through this book. This is the only way to achieve a score higher than 50 to 51.